I'm going to introduce our next speaker. We have from Startup Estonia, just a long-time wonderful friend of Startup Istanbul. Merillin, thank you so much. So wonderful to see you. And
thank you.
Thank you.
Hello. Everything's working. Everyone can hear me. Hello. Hi, e-residency. So I'm just going to check the clicker. Everything is working. Hello. It is really nice to be back in Istanbul. It is now, I think, my, who knows how many times I've been on stage, but it's always great to be back here and to hear that we are represented by so many countries here. So I'm really looking forward to this weekend. But, yes, my name is Merillin. I am from Startup Estonia, and I am the Startup Visa project lead. So, okay, I'm not going to ask you if you know where Estonia is, because I know that there's a map there, but how many of you knew where Estonia was before I showed you the map? Wow. Well, Estonians don't count. Yes, we are a small country in the northeastern parts of Europe. I hope some of you have been there, or if some of you may want to go there, then I will introduce to you what is happening there for your startup, so that maybe one day when you want to scale to Europe or through Estonia to the global market, you might choose Estonia. But before I tell you about the detailed things that we offer, I'm going to tell you a little bit about Startup Estonia and its background. So in 2015, a program called Startup Estonia was launched to boost the Estonian startup ecosystem. And the main goal of that program is that by the end of 2020, we will have 1,000 startups. And Startup Estonia kind of supports the ecosystem organizations, mainly looks that the legislative environment works for the entrepreneurs, not only for startups, but for all entrepreneurs, and also that there is funding accessible for startups, because without funding, it's not that easy to run a startup, as you all might know. Then, besides those very general things that we do, we have 4 focus areas. It means that we have dedicated people dealing with specific areas where we might need more startups or we might need more ecosystem organizations. So we have EdTech, Cybertech, which is one of the longest running focus areas in Startup Estonia, and because Estonia is very strong in cyber technology, especially in cybersecurity. Then we have a regional focus area concentrated in the eastern parts of Estonia. And then there's Accelerate Estonia, which was launched this year. And its goal is to have more programs similar to e-residency. I guess you've all heard of that. Are there any e-residents in the house? Okay, well, you're going to hear more about e-residency from Jan after me, but yes, Accelerate Estonia is looking for other innovative programs that the government might accelerate. So, we are a team of 9 people, very, how to say, feminine team. There is one guy, one guy, Sander, who's also here, our kind of a backbone. Yeah, he has to handle all of it. You got an applause. You're a guy, of course you did. I'm fine, kidding. So, yes, this is our team. But now let's get to the main topic. What is a startup? So in Estonia, the term startup is actually written in the law. I will tell you about why later, but it's because of Startup Visa. And in Estonia, a startup is based on technology. It is innovative, has repeatable and scalable business model, and fast global growth potential. A lot of the things that Bill actually mentioned were really connected to that. So if you are able to scale and grow really fast, get the investment maybe on top of that, and kind of grow even more, it's a startup by Estonian standards. A little bit about the numbers. One of the main things that we do in Startup Estonia, of course, we gather a lot of data about how the startup ecosystem is going. And by today, we have 650 startups, of which 130 are Startup Visa founded. And that means that 130 of those 650 startups are outside of Europe, from outside of Europe, founders who have used the Startup Visa, which I will tell you more about later, don't worry. Right now, there are actually even more than 5,000 new jobs created, but this is the official data. We collect biannual data. What is really important to see or show as a government organization is that startups have paid a lot of employment taxes, and it's growing by a lot every year. Usually we see that the Estonian startup ecosystem grows 30 to 50% every year. We'll see what happens this year. And our startups have raised over 1 billion in the last 12 years. So, has anyone ever used Skype? So you know what that is. Good. So we call Skype the first Estonian unicorn. I know that Swedes and Danes also do that, and we're completely okay with it because this is kind of the start of the Estonian startup success story. Every startup who has been successful from Estonia has been global from day one, because Estonia, with its 1.3 million people, will never be a market for a successful startup, for a technology startup. So all of those startups that you see on the screen, 4 of them are our unicorns: Skype, TransferWise, Playtech, and Bolt. They never had an idea to stay local. They were always looking beyond their country borders. But Skype, Playtech, they were from the first generation of Estonian successful startups. Skype, you all know what it is. Playtech is a gambling software. And then from Skype, the first employees, actually the first employee, Taavet Hindrikus, together with another guy, started TransferWise. Has anyone used TransferWise? Good. And then Bolt, who gained the startup unicorn status last year. So yeah, for a small country of 1.3 million people, we have already 4 unicorns. Then, why I put Moniz and Pipedrive here is that they will most likely in the next couple of years become the next 2 unicorns, so just keep an eye on them. And now my favorite slide. I know the numbers are really small. You can find all of those graphs and all of this on our website, startupestonia.ee as well. But what it shows that in 2017 and 2018, we reached to new heights with our investment numbers into Estonian startups. And last year was really a record year. What I can say is that in 2017, the average investment size was roughly 6 million euros. But in 2018, it reached to 10 million. So we'll see what happens this year. No news of any new unicorns yet, but we still have a couple of months left in this year. Yes, and top 6 sectors, you can find them at startupestonia.ee/startups. Right now we have quite a static database on our site, but in a couple of months we will have a completely interactive startup database, so keep an eye on it. But yes, you can see that business software, fintech, or ad tech, creative tech are probably the most popular. But as you could see, cyber tech, which we have been working on for the past 3 years, we're getting more and more. And also in that area, we have people who have used the Startup Visa to come to Estonia to benefit from the cyber technology success there. You don't have to take a picture of that. You can if you want to. You don't have to memorize it. We have that as well on our website. But I just want to show you that because this represents all of the organizations from the Estonian startup ecosystem. There's around 100 organizations, and we cover basically all of the stages of a startup, also startup mindset, where everything starts, pre-startup, startup, and scale-up. And then The horizontals are, I can't see it either from here or there, but events, accelerators, investors, and co-working spaces. So we have it all. So now to what I do every day in Startup Estonia. This is a lot of what I do. I meet with foreign teams all over the world. But I'm not going to get too much into e-residency because Jan is going to tell you about it. But sometimes e-residency and Startup Visa are mixed up. So I just want to make it clear that Startup Visa is an actual relocation tool for a startup founder from outside of EU. Or if you're interested in just working for an Estonian startup, you can also use that. Under the Startup Visa, we mean the visa, and also a temporary residence permit, which is for 5 years. A visa is for 1 year. To be eligible for that, a company that wants to either bring employees from outside of the EU, also Estonian companies, or founders from for example, from Turkey or Ukraine or India, or wherever, they have to have the startup status. And this is basically the only eligibility criteria that you have. But as you can see, the 35% success rate means that 35% of the companies who apply for the startup status only get it. And it's not because some countries have better or worse startups, it's just that the definition of a startup varies from country to country. So you can all think about wherever you come from, what is the term startup, what does it mean to you? Is it just a starting business, or is it a technology-based software hardware business? Yes, if you have any questions, by the way, we will be here basically the whole weekend. We will meet with startups from 2:30 as well. So just come to us and ask. The Startup Visa is a pretty successful visa or relocation system in the world. Because we have the startup status and the startup committee that consists of Estonian startup community organization representatives who know by heart what a startup is, and they know what we can offer to startups as well, because we don't only look for talent to just relocate, we also look for talent that we can offer something to. But by the 30th of September, we had over 1,800 individuals using it. And 20% of them are startup founders. And you can see that for founders, maybe now it became clear why I'm here on the stage, one of the top countries for founders is actually Turkey. And India, Iran, so countries that are represented here. This is the map. It has super tiny I mean, it is in our website as well under the blog post, but you can see that with orange, these are the top 10 countries by number of applications to the startup status. And then here you have the top 10 countries who are the most successful with gaining the startup status. So top 1 is Estonia, because as I said, Estonian companies who want to bring in foreign employees, they also have to get the startup status. But then you have Russia, Turkey, Ukraine, China, United States, Iran, Morocco, India, and Pakistan. These are the top 10 countries. What does it give you? Or what do you have to gain in Estonia? It's basically ease of access to everything. Because it's so small, everyone knows each other. You can get closer to the top executives, angel investors, VC funds, government through us, and also the rest of the EU markets. This is Pavel from Russia, and for him, the Startup Visa was an easy access to the European market. He was doing aerospace engineering. He still is doing it very successfully in Estonia, but since it was illegal to develop it in Russia, he needed to find a way to do it somewhere else. Then Kwun from Hong Kong, he actually came to work in Estonia at Jabatical, which is an Estonian startup, and then pretty soon discovered that Estonia is a very supportive ecosystem, so why not start my own business? And now he's in his second round of investment. Thanks to the help of Estonia and also the connections between Estonian and Scandinavian and Nordic VC funds. And then Edilson from Brazil. You can also do what he did, make a matrix listing of all of the aspects of all of the countries that offer these kinds of relocation options. And yeah, Estonia kind of jumped to the top of the list for him. And now I'm reaching towards the end of my presentation, but I think we have some time for questions as well. But before I finish, I just wanted to tell you about a couple of the events that you can come to. And one of the teams in this competition will actually have a chance to visit Startup Week Tallinn, which is already in a month, or in less than a month. Sander is one of the main organizers, so you can ask about that week from us. It's a week full of 65 events. Around 65 events throughout the whole Tallinn and also other regions in Estonia. And you have the option to meet with basically everyone in the ecosystem, the unicorns, the soon-to-be unicorns, the starting companies, the organizations, and one of the team will get a round trip from Startup Estonia to go there. So yeah, something to look forward to and maybe put in the effort. Then we have Robotex, which is the biggest robotics festival in the world. Startup Day, kind of getting into the startup ecosystem in Estonia. It's in the second biggest town in Estonia called Tartu. And then our flagship tech event, Latitude 59, which is happening in May next year. Follow us on these pages. We have a lot of information about the Estonian startup ecosystem on our website. All of the events, every time we come to Turkey, for example, we put up our events on our Facebook. So just follow us, and yeah, that's it for me. Thank you.
So what questions do we have for Merillin? Please, don't be bashful. What questions? Just raise your hand if you'd like to ask a question. So I'll ask you a question.
Okay.
So let's imagine that I want to see if I qualify to bring my business to Estonia. What's the process? How do I apply?
It's very easy.
Yeah.
You have to go to startupestonia.ee/visa, and there's the link to the startup committee application page. The application is quite thorough. It's comparable to any VC or accelerator application. You have to discuss your business idea, business model, market, targets, accomplishments, and you have to bear in mind that we don't accept idea phase or idea stage companies. Whenever I get an idea stage, I have to say no instantly and just work on it, do an MVP-ready prototype, and then you're eligible.
Fantastic. Hey, folks, again, just a reminder that we don't want to have conversations here in the room. Please, if you'd like to have conversations, if you'd like to have conversations, just go outside. It's okay. You won't hurt our feelings if you go outside. You will hurt our feelings if you stay in here and have conversations. So I did see a hand over here who'd like to ask a question. Yes, please.
What about, do you list the accelerator in your website?
Yes.
For hard tech and the health tech?
Yes, we have.
Biotech
Yes.
startups?
Yes, we have for all of those that you mentioned, but just I would advise you to go to the website and you will find them all right away. Health tech, biotech, I think the oldest tech park in Estonia called Tehnopol is doing a lot on that, but also we have the biotechnology park in Tartu. So just take a look at that, and I will be around, so if you need any help.
Hey, folks, it's getting noisy again. Please don't have conversations here. You're totally cool to leave and come back after your conversation.
Yeah, it's really, like, it may not sound too loud for you, but it echoes to here, so.
Well, and multiple conversations
Yeah.
really make it fairly loud. And it just makes it hard for people to hear.
Yeah, if we move the company over there in Estonia, do we have to hire a number of local employees or
No.
Estonian employees?
Well, it
So-
would be a nice rule to.
Maybe we should repeat the question.
yeah,
Just yeah, do you want to?
I can. So his question was that if you relocate to Estonia, do you have to hire local employees? You can if you find them, because because Startup Visa was also needed because we didn't have any talent available.
No, I mean, is it? I don't have any
It's not,
Education.
no, no,
And there is no ratio of hiring
no,
foreigners against locals?
no. I mean, any startup ecosystem that is successful has to be international, so we can't allow ourselves to kind of make that rule, and we don't want to.
Maybe there's a new startup opportunity, and that is startup families.
Yeah,
A whole nother.
I think there was actually, that hand was raised first.
Yes, please, go ahead.
How long does the process take? Yeah, usually if it's not too busy, you can get the answer from the startup committee in 2 weeks, 10 working days. Then the visa process, depending on which embassy you choose, we don't have a lot of embassies around. Luckily in Ankara we do have one. It may take up to 1 month, and with the temporary residence permit it may take up to 2 months. But what I usually say and what I recommend is starting with the visa because it's quicker. And then when you relocate to Estonia, just directly go maybe for the temporary residence permit because it makes living in Estonia easier with all the bank accounts. If you need healthcare, well, probably at one point everyone needs healthcare if you're bringing your family. By the way, for your spouses and your underage children, it's also eligible. Schools, everything. So, yeah.
Excellent. There was a hand here. Yes, sir.
You mentioned there's an event in January for a startup.
Yeah, in Tartu.
Is there like a visa just to attend the event? Does you help with it?
We don't, but probably the event itself can probably give you like an invitation letter, or you can also check if you even need a visa. It might be 90 days for you visa free. Just check that out.
Yes.
Bit of a stupid question. Is
No stupid question.
part of EU, right?
Estonia is part of EU, yes.
Is it a full member of the EU? Like if
Yes.
we go to Estonia, we can access
Yes.
the entire market and all?
Yes.
Fantastic. And there was a question down here. Yes, sir.
Startup Estonia ecosystem is looking in drone technologies or something like that?
Sorry?
Are you looking for drone technology?
We're looking for technology-based startups.
So,
All technology-based, as long as it's scalable and it's innovative and everything that I mentioned.
any other questions?
Wow. Yeah, there's
Oh,
one.
Excellent. Yeah.
If we start a startup in your country and after 1 year we fail, do we lose a residency in there too?
Not instantly. I mean, with startups, it's obvious that it may fail, but what we try to do is kind of support with our ecosystem that it doesn't happen. If it does happen, which it hasn't yet happened, then you have the eligibility to apply for with another company, for example. If you pivot, anything, it's all fine.
I mean, how much time do we get after to correct our mistakes and
As long as you have the visa. Because with startups, it's obvious that these things happen.
A trap door opens. No, sorry.
Yeah, instantly.
Exactly.
What are the criteria of qualified business to move to Estonia, and what is the cost and benefit?
So, what are
What are
the criteria to qualify, and then sort of cost
So
benefit?
the first criteria is that you have to have an MVP and a prototype at least ready. Idea stage is just we can't give our informed decisions on ideas. You have to describe the business model, accomplishments, whatever they are. Either it's small investments or first clients or acceleration, anything goes. And then we have to see if it is scalable. So if it's a factory that does chairs, even if it's a high technology option, then it's still not as scalable as a software business. Cost is relatively low, only the service fee. I think 80 for visa and 160 or 180 for the temporary residence permit. Opening a company takes 190 euros and then 2,500 of the shared capital, which you don't have to pay in at once. I have a company, I basically chose to pay the 2,500 euros in 10 years.
Those are not big numbers. Where are the big numbers? Is it the office rent? There should be something.
I mean, yeah, you have to live there. We don't offer you any like salary, but from the government side, we don't require a lot of, things. But office rent, I would say 200 to 400 a month per desk, depends on how much luxury you want, what location you want. In Estonia, you can freely work remotely. You don't even have to hire or rent an office space because we have Wi-Fi everywhere, even in the forests. Yes, that's true. You can come and test it out.
All right, we're going to take these 2 more questions and then move on. Yes, please.
Just a question of curiosity, because when you are saying that, committee, they will, judge whether the startup is scalable or it is like, growth investing. Who are the judging panel? Who are the people who are judging? Okay, every startup is
Yes, yes.
So the question is, who are the
judging
judges?
panel?
Yeah.
One of them is Startup Estonia. Then we have hackathon organizer Garage 48. Startup Wise Guys, which is an accelerator. Technopol, which is a tech park, which I mentioned. Super Angel VC Fund, Estonian Business Angels Network, and Startup Leaders Club. So basically people who deal with startups day by day and who are investors themselves.
And there was one more question back here. Yes, sir.
Hello. Hello, everyone. Actually, my question is, does Estonia have a financial authority where fintech, they can exempt it, they want to target retail clients in Europe, they can go through this process as well?
So,
If you have a fintech
yeah.
and it's actually targeting retail market, does Estonia offer a certain license or regulation
That is a good question.
Yeah, maybe we should take that offline so that you guys can connect.
I
and
would
talk.
have to do some research. Of course, we probably offer those EU licenses, but Jan, maybe you know about that. So
Let's put Jan on the spot.
Yeah.
I like that.
no, it's just Jan. I'm sure he will mention, but he has
Yeah.
dealt with foreign investors, and maybe he is more knowledgeable about that.
Please help me thank Merillin. Fantastic job.
Thank you.
I'll take that.
There you go.